Hey everybody. Bringing back the AK550 from the previous video that I made with that short little walkthrough on it and such. Well, I had said I was going to do a writing review, and I still am, but I had decided, you know what, I'm going to wait until I get through the full break-in period because I felt like, I'd be able to give a more honest opinion of what the bike is capable of and how it feels after it's been fully broken in. We can go above 50 miles an hour without feeling like maybe we're going to damage something or prematurely wear something out. So as you can see, we have, don't know if you can read that, 524.6 miles. A little hard to read with the light in here. But while going through this break-in period, kind of ran into a little bit of a problem. Well, probably I would call it like three problems, really, all related to oil. And as we all know, whether it's a motorcycle, lawnmower, car, airplane, whatever, we like to keep the oil in the machine. Oil outside of the machine, just like blood outside of the body, not good. We want to fix that right away. But so that's kind of where we come to a little bit of an issue. I'm going to come on down here, and as you can see, I've got this nice cardboard right here that is currently saving my garage from looking like it has chickenpox or some other weird disease. And as we come down here, about 200 miles in, I started to notice a little weird splotch on my driveway. I noticed like two of them shortly after I parked one time, and I thought, I don't remember it raining recently. I don't remember doing anything that would have put like this weird stain on my concrete driveway. And then I kind of knelt down and moved the kickstand right here and noticed right on the bolt that you see right here, there was a little drop of oil. And I thought, crap. What could that be? At first I was thinking, you know what, maybe it's, this is the water pump right here. Maybe it's the mechanical seal on the water pump really prematurely, by like thousands of miles, gave out. These bikes are kind of known to go through water pumps every now and then, a little bit faster than what you would expect with some other bikes, which is annoying. Can be annoying if it happens to you, but it's not like end of the world thing. You pop off a couple of screws here, you pop off a cover or two here, take everything, take the water pump stuff out, throw a new one in, and you're probably good for, another 10,000 miles or so. Well, oil is a different story. So this being a brand new bike, I decided, you know what, why am I going to wrench on it? It's not even a month or two old. It's got a 2-year unlimited mile warranty. Let's go take it to a shop nearby. So quick shout out to Chicago Scooter Works over on Damon Avenue here in Chicagoland. If you happen to be in the Chicago area and you have a scooter, you're looking for a scooter, they work on pretty much everything. They sell a huge number of different scooters, new, used, from brand new all the way to, probably like 20-30 years old. They got a little bit of everything. Very smart mechanics, great customer service. Definitely recommend them. But going back to the bike, so brought it in, I had noticed we had a little bit of an oil leak, obviously, here on this bolt. But if we look a little bit further over here, there's actually another one just kind of like right over here as well. Same kind of style bolt and everything. That one also had a little bit of a drip on it. So I thought, okay, well, we got 2 drips now. So brought it in, they had a look at it, looked at it throughout the day, gave me a call back, and this was about start of the month, October like 1st, 2nd or so that I was able to drop it off. It's now October 20th. They had a look at it, and they determined, yeah, those bolts are leaking. And they went and looked at the service manual, and that's another story. There's actually not an updated service manual for this bike available yet. Which is a little bit of an issue because there are differences between the premium trim that this is and the other AK550 ABS models that have been here for the last few years. This trim piece here comes off in a much larger single unit piece. The old one was a smaller little piece here. So there's more screws here. These body panels are different. They come off a little bit differently. Obviously, there's some mechanical differences. Basically the same motor and everything, but just little differences that, you know, can trip you up if you're trying to do some work on this by yourself. But looking at the old service manual for the old bike, they noticed something weird. They noticed that these bolts here, there's actually 3 of them. 2 of mine were leaking. The other one that's a little bit further back over here, that one's been fine. That one's not leaking. They noticed that on the old bikes, they use a little thin aluminum washer. Not even a crush washer, but a thin aluminum washer that as you tighten it down, it's going to go ahead and seal up, block anything coming out. For some reason on the AK550 Premium here in the United States, I can't say if it's this way in other countries or so. Again, this is not a new bike to the world. This is a new bike to the US. This has been out for multiple years now in places like Europe and Asia and such. But they decided instead of using those washers on these, they're going to go ahead and use thread locker, like Loctite. Well, if anybody knows anything about Loctite, it is great at keeping bolts from loosening. It is not good at sealing anything, especially oil. It does not seal. That is not what it's for. But they went ahead and did it anyway. I don't know why. I guess maybe to save those 3 cents per washer. I'm really not sure. But in the case of my bike, they started leaking. So they had some washers available in the store and in the shop there, but they weren't a match for the bike. So they gave a call to the Kymco head engineer here in the United States and spoke with him, and he didn't even know that this change was made. I don't know how that works, but I guess the lead engineer here in the U.S. somehow wasn't informed about, you know, a small change like that on what is a flagship model bike here, you know? So he looked through his inventory there over in South Carolina, I believe is where they are. His inventory said that they had 12 on hand of those old washers for the other bikes. Opens the box, turns out there's only 1. So he's waiting to get those over from Taiwan, which is why the bike is now back in my possession. Still leaking oil for a different reason, actually. But we're still waiting on that. Hopefully mid-November it'll come in. However, got the bike back and thought, okay, whatever, you know, the dealership Scooter Works' fix, which was their own crush washers, did kind of work. That other one doesn't seem to appear to be leaking. This one, I think, might still be leaking, but I don't know for sure because when I got it home and let it sit for a while after driving it almost 40 miles that day, you know, it does this when it gets up to temperature, is I noticed, you know, there was some oil drops forming on the bolt right here. Well, that really wouldn't make sense because, like water, oil, unless it's under pressure, is going to flow downhill. It's not going to go up. It's going to go down. It's going to go to the lowest point that it can. And even if the bike is on the side stand here, this is still higher than here. So how could there be oil here? Well, if we take this rag here and fold it a little bit in half like this, and we go to the front of the water pump, you might already be able to see a little bit of glistening there. And we just give it a quick little wipe here. Oh, look at that. That's oil. Okay, so that means we got another oil leak. And it's coming from further up the engine. Well, I decided, you know what, I'm gonna try and disassemble the bike a little bit. So I got, you know, some of the side fairings off. I kind of got stuck at this point because there's like a tab here and here and here, and the old instructions for the old bike say that you got to take the seat off and the tub out and this off, and then you can take off the side. Well, I have no idea if that's the same for this bike because it's all different panels. So I decided we're gonna stop there before we break something. So I was able to pull this all enough that I could look behind it and I could see that, and it's going to be very hard to see, but you can kind of see some of the side of the engine here. The side of that end of the engine here up to a certain point was wet. Glistening a little bit. And if you look here, there's a little bypass hose for the thermostat. So this just goes by the thermostat when it's not, you know, up to temperature. It bypasses the thermostat. This goes all the way up to the top of the engine into the thermostat housing. and there's you can see it here a little bit. There's a little bit of oil on it. So it's seeping, it's also running down this line and coming, and this is what's getting on the front of the water pump. There is a little bit of oil back over here as well. If I can figure out how to edit a video well enough, I'll put a photo of the old service manual for the old bike, because again, this is the same engine. But this, if I can get that picture up, this little bypass line goes up to the side of the engine, to the top, and it hits us this little bracket here halfway between on the side of the engine. It connects to this little bracket that connects to the timing chain tensioner bolt kind of cover. Basically, it's just a cover that, you know, exposes the timing chain tensioner so you can adjust that if need be. My theory, because I have not brought this bike back yet to Scooter Works. We're waiting for those washers to come in, so I figure we'll do everything all at once. My theory is that the gasket or the washer on that timing chain cover is leaking as well. That's the only part that would make sense, because the front of the engine from about here forward to the top of the top of the valves it's dry, and everything about back over here is dry. It's in this center section at the lowest points of the engine and on the water pump and right here on this line that it's getting oil residue, and as you can see, dripping as well. This was not from this bolt as well. This was from right here. I actually wiped it off a little bit more before I even started the video. So, you know, Scooter rides great sound, smooth, good acceleration. It's just, you know, it's definitely disappointing to drop money on a new product, especially when it's, you know, thousands of dollars in this economy, and you start leaking oil not even 200 miles in. You know, that's not a good look. So hopefully, you know, come mid-November or so, or maybe a little bit earlier if I'm lucky, those washers will come in and the mechanic will be able to tear off some more of these panels here, get a good look up here, and determine if that's really the issue. Obviously, you know, all under warranty and everything, but, you know, it's a little bit frustrating. But in the meantime, I will see if I can make a actual ride-along video for the riding review. If not, might have to hold off on that a little bit, just so I can have this oil situation fixed. It's not leaking so much that you can't ride it, you know, but it's definitely letting you know that there's oil in there, which is good. And you know, checking the dipstick over here, we're always at a good level. We're always near the maximum point, so it's not really leaking that much. But there's always that chance and that thought in the back of my head, and I'm sure anybody else's head, that if you're leaking a little bit of oil as you're riding, that little leak could all of a sudden become a much bigger leak. And now you're stuck on the side of the road with a brand new bike, maybe a blown motor, or just no oil, or oil all over the back of your tire, and you go into a ditch, and that's no bueno. So hopefully this can get fixed. Hopefully Kymco will eventually also acknowledge that Loctite is not a thread sealer, especially in oily environments, and goes back to using those crush washers on their premium version of these bikes, and maybe even if they changed over those other ABS bikes to that. Would not be surprised if that becomes a eventual recall notice for these. But in the meantime, still enjoying the bike and hopefully having this oil leak fixed soon. So thanks for watching, and ride safe.